U.S. President Donald Trump says the U.S. has carried out a strike against a drug-carrying vessel in the southern Caribbean, killing 11 narco-terrorists. While the military operation targeted members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. Trump said the vessel was in international waters and was transporting illegal narcotics bound for the U.S. Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Kamla Bissesa has praised the U.S. for its strike, which is located near Trinidad and Tobago. A U.S. congressional panel has released a trove of documents related to the federal investigation into the late sex offender, Jeffrey Epstein. The House of Representatives Oversight Committee published 33,000 plus pages, including flight logs, jail surveillance, video, court filings, audio recordings, and emails. However, Republicans and Democrats alike say the files contain little new information, and it is unclear if the Justice Department is withholding other Epstein records. Victims of the sex offender have also called for the release of all the files. Speaking at an event in Washington, D.C., they said they are compiling a list of his known associates, claiming the U.S. government has not published everything it knows. Rise analyst Olarinoye joins me now for more on this particular story. Labe, glad to have you join me and glad to see you one more time after a while. All right, only 2 more Republicans needed to force a vote. This is according to Rokana. What more do we know?
What we do know is that this is a much anticipated document that the victims are calling to be released, which of course includes some of the high profile associates of the disgraced late financier Jeffrey Epstein. Now, a big name that keeps coming up is current President Donald Trump. Up to 5 different victims have for the first time publicly addressed a conference of people today, stating some of what they faced during their encounter with Jeffrey Epstein. Some have expressed significant types of abuse, a long-lasting relationship. Many have shared that they thought they were alone in this process, and now we know that they are calling, along with backup from their lawyers, are calling for these files, this very, very bulky file to be released, which will effectively release and show and reveal the names of not just people like Jeffrey Epstein, but also his associates who are said to be in places of high position. And so for that reason, we're seeing not only the victims come forward, but also many of some Republican lawmakers are also calling for the details of these files to be exposed.
Yeah, we'll get to the Republicans issue calling for Democrats, but you mentioned survivors. For the first time, Epstein survivors are speaking up, especially Theresa Ham, who is slamming Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. You want to speak more on that particular, what she said?
Well, in terms of what she said specifically, she's saying that a lot of the encounters, the kind of abuse that they encountered with people like Jeffrey Epstein and his associates, including some politicians, have been life-changing for them. She's not the only one, of course, Andy. There's a series of women that have come forward today, 5 different women, revealing different types of experiences, some of which have stayed with them, a lot of these women are older women now, and they're detailing experiences, encounters that they had from as young as the age of 15. They go into a lot of detail about kind of the whole experience being shrouded in secrecy, the type of abuse they endured, what they saw during their encounters with Jeffrey Epstein and others. A name that kept coming up was Donald Trump. Nothing of any sexual nature has been revealed about Donald Trump just yet, but actually what has been a reoccurring theme is the fact that they have can all confirm that there has been some sort of open relationship with Donald Trump and the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. One of the ladies detailed that President Donald Trump has pictures on Jeffrey Epstein's table, something that they saw very young, and that there was a very cordial relationship between the two. What we can tell is that there's a general theme here of a relationship that's been drawn between the two men, and many of those women are calling for that to come to the fore. Since then, though, President Trump has responded, especially within the last 30 minutes, saying that he thinks that this is a hoax, that this is a plan, a conspiracy by his opposition members of the Congress, as well as people that don't want to acknowledge his perceived wins, that want to take him down. He doesn't want to give this any attention. This is something that he said publicly many times before, but even on as crucial as today is, he has reiterated once again.
Remarkable is the fact that it was Trump who said it was a hoax started by Democrats initially. Now he's attacking Democrats who want the whole stuff released.
Absolutely. This is something that President Trump has said recurringly over a period of time, saying that this is a baseless accusation. There hasn't been any significant evidence that draws the two men together. But of course, we have seen images, photos, accounts from different people detailing the relationship between Mr. Trump and Mr. Epstein. But for now, there hasn't been any concrete evidence of anybody that has actually faced any kind of abuse or sexual relationship with, or underage sexual relationship with Donald Trump. And so for that reason, he has repeatedly called this a hoax. He has said that once again today, that this is a ploy by the Democrats to bring down or to overshadow some of the things that he is putting in place, something that he describes and his supporters describes as wins. And so we know that he is completely giving this no attention at all. But as more and more victims come forward, as they begin to choose to speak publicly, and more interest is garnering around these files and these documents and what they contain, at some point the president may or may not have to address this issue, especially now, Andy, that some of that interest is coming from within his own camp, within some Republican lawmakers asking for the same answers that this same opposition Democrats are asking for.
Yeah, let's talk about his camp. Now you have 212 Democrats and four Republicans, Nancy Mace, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's been on the forefront of this, and Lauren Boebert. What is Trump saying about Republicans who have taken a stand?
Well, we know that President Trump is a very controversial figure in American politics. He has diehard supporters within his camp and further afield. But what is certain is that because of the kind of figure that he is, because of how kind of polarizing his views can be, that not just everybody in the Republican Party is pro-Donald Trump. And we're seeing that more and more as this case garners more attention. I mean, it has been a long time coming. Since 2019, we've seen that the Jeffrey Epstein saga has continued to gain momentum, sometimes troughs though. But actually, as it's come back to the fore now, some Republican lawmakers are calling for answers, especially if the president name keeps coming up in such a controversial case, such a controversial subject and topic. And so for that reason, it is dividing opinion amongst his own camp. And many of those lawmakers you mentioned already, ND, are also saying that that there needs to be a clear distinction, a clear identification as to how deep the relationship was between Jeffrey Epstein and Trump, and also to what extent there could be potential victims out there that aren't speaking, especially because it's such a contentious subject for many. Like I said, there are a significant amount of women that have come forward to the Department of Justice, but only 5 have publicly come forward to detail some of their experiences. So it is going to be a rocky road if there is any type of allegation brought against Donald Trump at this level, or if this is just going to be an issue with the affiliation between Donald Trump and the late Jeffrey Epstein at this very point.
Yeah, what I'm reading is that about 97% of what was released or what has been released is already in the public domain. What chance is there of the two Republicans that they need to compel a vote of it happening?
It's unlikely to say exactly what that would look like right now. It's going to be a very uphill battle, considering this is a very proof-heavy type of allegation. There needs to be substantial proof. I mean, for if we cast our minds back to when Vanessa Giuffre, the late Vanessa Giuffre, accused the late Queen Elizabeth II's son, Prince Andrew, of the same kind of nature of abuse. It was a very uphill road. They eventually settled out of court, but it was a huge uphill battle. It was a very massive tarnish. It tarnished his name quite significantly, especially within British society. It might not be the same in American society, and especially because there hasn't been anything concrete so far. It's a reputational issue for the president, and how much this will contribute to his reputation across America. It's very unlikely to say how that will play, and also within the political spheres, in terms of the numbers of lawmakers that it will take for this to become a bigger issue, is still quite uncertain. But what is definite is that the fact that the president name keeps being brought up and he keeps dismissing it. It could go either way. It does give him significant case in the sense that there isn't really no evidence against him. None of the women have come forward to actively say just yet that there has been a untoward relationship between themselves and Donald Trump. But at this point, it still remains a very much reputational, damaging issue.
All right, thank you so much, Lape, for your interesting analysis there.